Cowabunga, dude.
Ooh, very nice.
Yeah.
Cowabunga, dude.
Did they actually say that in the movie? I don't remember. Welcome to Was It Good, the podcast that reviews movies and TV shows. Today, we are talking Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem. I'm Ravi, joined by my two brothers,
Krishna
and
Arjuna.
And you may think he's here, but he's not here. He's faking it. We're using artificial intelligence to make it seem like he's here. So, we're ahead of the curve.
Yeah, honestly, this feels like the smallest pod we've ever done. We're missing half the crew.
We are missing half the crew.
Isn't your house is empty right now? I think, right?
No.
But
Everyone's back. Everyone's back home. So.
Oh, okay, that's good.
But it
feels empty.
It is just me with all of this equipment here, trying to run it all. So.
Yeah. You're hosting. You're producing. You'll be editing.
Yeah, I will be editing. Oh, I already came up with a way to make it super easy for myself. So.
Oh, that's good.
It'll be easy.
AI?
Yeah. We do. I mean, a little behind the scenes, we do use a little bit of AI to help with the post-production process. And spoiler, no, Arjuna has not actually been replaced by AI. He's busy, and he actually sent us, so his responses on this pod are captured content that we'll be rolling out because, as siblings, we don't want him to feel left out because then he'll complain to our mother.
And also, Dad will yell at him.
Yeah, Dad will ask us if there's a problem. But he sent us a reasoning, so let's play that.
Unfortunately, I had to go over the ocean for this week and could not make the podcast, but I still wanted to make sure that I talked about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem with my own teenage brothers.
I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know what he's trying to say there.
Yeah. Also, he is he flexing? Was he like?
Oh,
I'm across the ocean.
Yeah,
is that
Excuse me. I mean, it's a weird humble flex.
Yeah, it's not too much humbleness in it.
No.
Humility.
The one thing,
lacking.
I mean, I always like when we do pods like this where June's not here because, we can do whatever we want with his content. We don't have to, we're about to hit our one-word impression for the new Mutant Mayhem film. And I don't have to roll his clip. We could lie to him. Yeah? And he wouldn't know.
Yeah. You could also be like technical difficulties.
Yeah,
I watched it beforehand, so his one-word impression was poopy.
Yeah, it was nonsense or something.
And there is one advantage I can think of to doing that. Arjuna, in some not recent pods, but some pods over the last year, he has garnered a lot of internet interest for his unpopular takes.
Yeah.
So
if
we wanted to hijack and make him even more famous, we could.
I mean, we could also, you could argue we're protecting him potentially.
Ooh,
right?
Yeah, that's true. That's how we'll play it off.
Yeah, exactly. We're protecting him from himself.
From himself? Yeah, there we go.
How should we do this? So for one more impression, should we start with his or should we?
Yeah, let's get his out of the way because then we can make fun of it.
Yeah, I like
rolling
that.
Into ours.
So this is Arjun's one-word impression for Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem.
My one-word impression for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem, is going to be aesthetic. I'm going with aesthetic because I thought the art direction within the movie was very unique and interesting. Very much like in Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse, where they had a unique aesthetic that I think really enriched the storytelling. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles kind of did the same thing, right? I thought it did a really great job of portraying the story that it wanted to portray, really emphasizing the New York lifestyle that you kind of get with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, really emphasizing the mutant part as well, but while also having a certain amount of warmth that goes with these teenagers, right? So I thought it was really unique and interesting, and I really liked how they did it. It gave the movie really cool feel to it. And then the aesthetic of the time period itself, right? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is all about the 80s. It's all about pizza and like hanging out, being bros, and like 80s culture. If you watch the original movies and some of the old shows, even the later shows in the 90s and the 2000s are all about that too. So I thought it was really smart that Mutant Mayhem updated the story, but didn't try to do like an 80s type of story. They really brought it into the 2000s, 2010s, 2020s, bringing in a lot of relevant culture and pop culture that's relevant to the time, I think that was helpful to, gain a new audience, right? There's a lot of new kids that didn't grow up with the old Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and now 80s stuff might just feel kind of like uncool and old. So I thought that was cool to really wrap up the whole movie into something that was accessible still to the original audience, who's now a little bit older, and also a new audience who maybe are some of their kids in later generations.
Aesthetic.
Interesting one-word impression. I will say this: Arjuna does always kind of like, oh boy, whoopsie, it's got really bright there, and I fixed it. Okay. We'll just restart that from. Arjuna does a interesting job of being very long-winded.
Yeah. Somehow he turned his one-word impression into 2 words. 2 impressions with 1 word.
It's not even that.
Which we've done.
I mean, the other thing that's always fun when we do it this way is I can tell you exactly how long that one-on-one impression was, and it was. He spoke about it for 2 minutes. 2 minutes and 1 second.
Oh wow! Okay.
Aesthetic.
Well, aesthetic. Yes. I mean, he's not wrong.
No,
his one-word impression was not wrong, but yeah, he did not nail the brevity.
What's your one word going to be?
Mine's going to be origins. For 2 reasons. So, I just made fun of him for using 1 word, 2 impressions, and I'm about to do the same thing. Fail. Anyway, I'll try to keep it quick. Origins. I thought they did a fantastic job with showing the origins of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It was funny, like seeing the Doctor, and he was just like this zany old guy. Who just wanted to create his family. I don't know. I can't remember if that is the same origin story for the goo in like the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. If it was or it wasn't, irrelevant. I thought it worked for this movie, and it was really funny. And the second reason I'm using origins is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for us is kind of an origins. For us, for me, you, and Arjuna. Specifically, when we first came to America way back in 94. I don't know if you remember this.
When we first came to visit.
Correct.
Right.
We played our first video game ever. So Arjuna was probably 2 years old. I was 7, or 6, and you were 4, maybe. We played our first video game ever in the U.S. At our cousin's house in Boston. And that video game was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time. I think it was the 3rd video game on the Super Nintendo, I think. That was the first video game. That might have been as well our first introduction to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles themselves. I'm not sure. We might have been watching the TV show at that point, but we might not have been.
I don't remember.
Have come after.
The Ninja Turtles in the UK.
At all?
Yeah, even when we were older, I don't remember. The first time I remember seeing the Ninja Turtles show and stuff was on American television, on Fox or something. Fox Kids.
I want to say there was a little overlap that the cartoon did hit us in the UK. But for either way, the Ninja Turtles was definitely our first video game. It got me hooked because I'm still playing video games. So, origins ×2.
Nice. Wow. You were roughly about the same time as him. So.
Damn it. Fuck.
Similar.
But you got to interact with me.
That's true. With these, we just have to kind of listen to it, and
yeah.
I did think about putting it in ×2 speed. just speed run right through it, whatever. No, I think for my one word impression, I'm gonna be lame. You actually kind of said it in your recap of your one word impression, which was family.
Ooh,
because the movie is all about the idea of family and what it means to have one's family, which is a very core thing for the Ninja Turtles, right? That's their whole kind of being and their whole kind of thing is, what does it mean to have a family? What does it mean to act as a family unit in the world? And their, villain that they were going against, Mr. Ice Cube, and his family that turned on him very, very quickly.
Yeah, very interesting.
Super quickly to the point where I was like, I know this is a kids movie, but really? Like,
yeah.
Like I thought like at least like some of them would like stay with him, like the bigger, tougher looking ones. Like I would have thought they would have joined or stuck around, but
like the classic villains in there,
in the game,
Bebop and Rocksteady, that was shocking. It was kind of a subversion of expectations. So I wonder if that's why it happened so quickly. I guess the other thing too is because we got that origin piece in the beginning, that like this movie had a lot of setup, like the sort of getting them even to that inciting incident. We had a lot of stuff to cover, so that's probably part of it as well. Why they turned so quickly to get that piece in instead of having them chill out for longer.
That makes sense. Yeah,
but you're right. That was an interesting decision on their part for sure. Yeah.
You know what's next now, right?
Oh no.
Oh yeah. and I obviously,
my favorite.
Because I had to cut our Junior's clips up before this, so I kind of got a preview of what's to come, his listing, but I'll let him explain it.
So for my DVD chapter listing, as always, I wrote a fun little chapter listing out. There are some deep cuts in here. I don't know if you guys will get all of them. As you all know, I am very intelligent, and you just know how to write these really, really well, and whatnot. But in all seriousness, I hope you do enjoy. Krishna, I think you have to do the voice of the Shredder.
I mean, that makes sense. We got a tease of the Shredder at the end.
We did. Now, it's been a long time since I watched the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, so why don't you give me a Shredder impression?
Wouldn't it just be like, I'm the Shredder, like just an angry, deep voice? Because there's also been so many like variations of Shredder. Like, if you remember the Shredder villain from the original like live-action Ninja Turtle films, in the first film, I don't think you actually see a face. He's in his mask like the entire film, and he doesn't really say anything. I think in the third one, there's like the Shredder's ancestor, and he does have more talking lines and a face and everything. And it's just that kind of typical villain, like, deep, like, I will destroy you type thing.
Yeah.
Like almost Bane-esque, I would say.
Oh, I'm Bane. No, I won't do Bane.
But not like that.
But yeah, I'll just do my generic villain voice. That should cover it. All right, here we go. Junior's DVD chapter listing for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. Chicken attack! Ferris Bueller's Day as a Turtle. Traitor! Love at First Ninja Star. And then there was 5. It's gonna be a montage. Montage! Party of Chris's, Turtle Milk, Super Whale Man, Teenage Mutant High School Turtles. That armor is sick, bro. Nice and short.
Nice and short for a change.
Thank God.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll give the voice a 6.2 out of 10.
Okay, yeah. I felt like I was going more wrestler there instead of villain.
Oh, definitely. But like, couldn't the Shredder be a wrestler?
Oh yeah, Shredder is a great name for a pro wrestler. So
problem though with the Shredder's like armor, for example, it would kill you.
Yeah, this would be like the X-rated wrestling where blood is real, or real blood. Whatever.
Yeah. Speaking of Shredder, I completely forgot. Like, did you ever see the animated, like not animated, the live action with the CGI Ninja Turtles a couple years ago, 5-6 years ago,
I
whatever?
didn't.
Okay.
I didn't. No, I haven't seen Ninja Turtles in a long time.
Oh wow, not even like the newer animated show that that was like 10 years ago, but
Yeah, no, it's honestly the last Mutant Ninja Turtles thing I watched was probably like that cartoon from the 90s. So
so yeah, it's legit been a minute.
it's been a minute. Yeah, in fact, I wasn't even planning on seeing this movie because it's been so long, right? Like, but Arjuna and Learman both said the movie was really good and that we should go see it and that we should do a pod on it. I'm glad they did. They did say it, but it wasn't a movie that was on my radar.
Isn't it interesting? Like the two people that are part of this podcast that aren't here are the ones that are like, we should do a pod on it, and then
Yes, and then for extenuating circumstances for both of them,
right, of course.
They both could not make it, unfortunately, that is ironic. The irony is thick.
And then they just leave it to us.
They do. He said there were some deep cuts in here, but I think most of them.
Well, I think the first one, like Chicken Attack, for example, that's a reference to that YouTube series that a friend of ours showed us them many years ago, where it's a bunch of YouTubers that kind of like make not parody, but like original music pieces and music videos. And it's about a chicken that this ninja or sensei uses to help fight crime. So
yeah,
that makes sense. The Ferris Bueller's Day as a turtle, that feels obvious because we actually see Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Fun fact, I only just recently saw that movie for the first time in like the last 6 months. So
oh wow,
yeah,
you're beating me.
You still haven't seen it, right?
I have never seen Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
I feel like that makes sense for us that like we wouldn't have seen that film growing up because like why would we? I mean
there's a lot of popular movies,
yeah,
and cult classics.
Like have you seen?
Well, maybe not cult.
Have you seen The Breakfast Club ever?
I have. I actually have seen The Breakfast Club. It's actually I've only seen it once. It was over 10 years ago, but it's actually a pretty good movie from what I remember.
I
don't know if it holds up, but it's
seen The Breakfast Club.
Yeah, it's worth a watch, if at least to take a trip down memory lane of 80s aesthetics.
I could just put on Stranger Things if I wanted to do that.
Stranger Things is good, but it doesn't do it as well.
What if I put like an 80s VHS filter on top of Stranger Things with that?
Oh,
and then put it in a 4x3 box and just call it a day and be like, oh, this is the 80s, I guess. That works.
Yeah, add a little bit of the not grainy, but the
the VHS, like the
what do you call that?
I don't know, VCR wear and tear.
The scratch.
Yeah, the scratch. Yeah, call it the scratch.
The visual scratch.
The non-perfected look or whatever. I think that works.
Hell yeah.
Speaking of like going back like to memory lane and things of our childhood, like you had said at the top of the pod, like Ninja Turtles was something that we played the video games, one of our first ones, which is interesting to let you remember that as our first game because I remember Doom as our first video game.
Doom came after.
Yeah.
Doom came after, yeah.
What a very confusing period for gaming.
Oh, yeah, I know. We played Doom, and then we weren't allowed to play Doom.
Yeah, once
our mother figured out what it was, it was like, yeah, you guys shouldn't be playing this.
I mean,
I was like, oh,
there's nothing wrong with Doom.
No, not at all. Classic,
but
cult classic.
But being a Ninja Turtle and mutants, that's okay. That's the line right there. But when we were kids, obviously, Ninja Turtles, a team of 4, each one had very different characteristics. As a kid,
typical.
Yeah, exactly. Like as a kid, though, you would recognize yourself in individual turtles and so forth. So we posed the question to Arjuna, and we gave guys the answer right here. Of which turtle did you identify with more? And then he did follow up immediately afterwards with which one does he identify with more now as an adult. So we'll probably just play his answers back to back because I think that'll be easier.
For sure.
Just breaking it apart. So here's Arjuna's response.
The turtle I identified the most with as a kid had to be Donatello, right? He's the smart, intelligent, nerdy one. And I think that was me a lot I don't know if I was smart, but I was definitely like nerdy and very kind of like Poindextery as a kid. So I definitely always kind of emphasized with Donatello, especially like not necessarily Mutant Mayhem, but in other previous Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I always feel like Donatello was kind of treated as like the loser of the group a little bit. But maybe that's how I felt as a kid a little bit. And now I guess today as an adult, I really identify specifically for Mutant Mayhem as the fly that Master Splinter eats, his best friend, in the flashback. But in all seriousness, probably like a little bit of Leonardo. Trying to kind of like rally the group and the troops together, but not necessarily being like the most effective or knowing how to do it, and messing up a lot and being a little bit unsure of yourself, but always like every now and then maybe coming together and bringing it all home. It's either that or Master Splinter, because I am old.
Okay, I have so many questions. Okay. When he says he feels like Leonardo trying to rally the troops,
Sure.
is that a reference to us, or is that a cry for help for his work life?
Oh my God, yeah, that's a good point actually.
Who is he trying to? Is he talking about his parents? Is he talking about? I mean, our parents. Is he talking about his home situation?
Oh my God. That's a very good observation. I thought, when I proposed this question to you both, like when we were like trying to figure out the general outline questions to ask each other for this pod, I kind of presented this question more as like go down memory lane and like, oh yeah, these characters are cool and they have such very different like characteristics and they do different things within their group and within their family. But now, like after hearing his answers, I'm like, this feels more like, is this something a therapist should like use to like determine like what problems and things you're going with? Because like even his answer about like Donatello, I don't remember him ever thinking he was like the Donatello. Like I always thought he thought of himself more as the Michelangelo, right?
That's what I thought.
Yeah, exactly. So like to hear him like
remember.
as an adult be like, no, I recognize myself more in Donatello is like, and then also to feel like Donatello was the loser of the group. I think that's also like quite a
that is
fascinating like perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, I don't know, maybe this is a question we should give to therapists.
I think you're onto something. I think that is a great idea for some kind of therapy where you take pop culture stuff,
Right.
and and based on their answers, you can be like, oh, okay, there's a lot to unpack there. Yeah, he went. You're right. He went a little bit deeper into that than I was expecting, which is interesting. I mean, for me, it's so funny he says Leonardo, because that's who I felt like as a kid. I think for pretty obvious reasons, right?
Because you're the eldest.
He's the
Yeah.
He's the oldest. I was the oldest. I personally also thought he was the coolest because of his two swords. But the sense of responsibility on his shoulders, I felt that. And also I was like, I'm the oldest. I'm going to be the oldest.
Right.
And so I think I in that way I was like maybe a little bossy. I was like, I'm Leonardo. You guys can pick someone else. Now I would pick Michelangelo.
See,
because all I want to do is eat pizza and watch movies and play video games. Like, I've simplified my life to where I have shed the responsibilities
of being
a Leonardo.
But
so
yeah.
In a way, me and Junior have switched.
Right, and that's what I think is fascinating, because you being the eldest, him being the youngest. And I think like a lot of people who are older siblings and younger siblings sometimes do feel like when you're a child and then when you become an adult, that idea and ideology and where you fit within the family dynamic, I think it does change for a lot of individuals. So I think that's the nail on the head. I think Arjuna fucked this up with thinking he's Donatello.
Oh, absolutely.
Because like I always thought I was Donatello.
100%.
Because like
100%.
he's an uber nerd, and I've always been an uber nerd.
Yes.
So Arjuna failed the assignment as per normal.
Yeah. So when you growing up, you felt like Donatello.
Yeah. I always thought.
Who do you feel like?
Yeah, I always felt because like he was more about the idea of like thinking through situations and whatnot, and because there was like this nerdy aspect to him.
And how about now?
Now I want to say that I'm Raphael.
Interesting.
Yeah, because I'm just so angry all the time.
See, I would have flipped it. I would have flipped
Really?
it. I do remember you identifying as Donatello as a kid.
Right.
But I would have said you were more Raphael as a kid. And I'm saying that from my perspective
Right.
as your older brother,
Yeah.
where we would have fought a bunch and you would have always tried to, like, do things your own way.
Right, which is
And I
what
was
you
like
would
trying
see
to reel you
between-
in.
Yeah, Raphael and Leonardo's, they were consistently
Exactly.
butting heads. Yeah, I can see that actually.
And I would say you're more Donatello now, only because now you have the means to be the Donatello nerd. Like, look at your setup, right? Look at like the technology that you go in. I will say this though, you're probably like a perfect balance of those two, and you probably always have been.
Of Raphael
so-
and Donatello.
And Donatello, yeah.
Ideally, though, an individual growing up, specifically in a family, you would want to have all the good aspects of all four of them.
No, that's boring.
I mean,
there's no, I push back against the good aspect.
sure.
If you're a parent, I can see why you would think that, and you're the father to a cat named Megatron, so I can understand why you'd feel that way. But there are no good or bad traits.
That's true.
There are just your traits. You are who you are.
You are who you are. Yeah, that's
no
a good
apologies.
way to say it.
No apologies necessary for anything.
There.
So
That's solid. Unless you're a cat
unless you're Megatron
and you're destroying furniture,
It's true.
which is just
It's true. I saw a funny meme on Instagram that was like cats. So you know how like many of us have experienced imposter syndrome, right? Like we have a role and we don't feel like we are capable of it.
Yeah.
Cats are incapable of imposter syndrome. Every cat you have ever seen has thought and acts like they are the most cat a cat can be. Cats are incapable of imposter syndrome.
What would the opposite of imposter syndrome be then? Cat?
Cat.
That's
it. Yeah.
Cat.
It's just cat.
So when people are like in therapy or trying to like say who they are, and they're very opposite of the imposter syndrome, they'll just be like, "Oh, I'm cat."
Yeah, they're cat.
Perfect. It's kind of weird that this has turned into like therapy.
Yeah, it says a lot maybe for where this IP stands in our lives or what it represents.
Well, I don't even think it's just us. I think Ninja Turtles, at its core, it's about family. Like I had said, and that relates to you for the most part. You know, those of us that are close or have a family or whatever, like that relates to like majority of humanity. So I think that's what helps. I think that's what's helped keep this IP alive that has kept it alive for so long. Is
And
because
relevant,
it hits upon that core thing that like everybody can relate to in some aspect.
It's true.
Which is
It's
cool.
true. Yeah. 4 brothers. I always wish we had a 4th brother so we could have really acted it out.
I mean, we can do that now. We have the technology. I mean, hey, I've been working on this behind the scenes whenever I have some free time or get bored. I have definitely been trying to create a 4th Ramgopal that is basically a collective of all 3 of us in terms of like looks and like style. And it is very, very difficult because, you know, artificial intelligence is not at the point where it can like self-create. It still needs a lot of input. And it still needs a lot of control. So it's not true artificial intelligence because it's not standing there on its own 2 feet and kind of having its own original thought. But
needs help.
But we could get there one day.
Yeah, we're probably closer to it than we even realize, right? Like it seems like it's improving so quickly where it's just like exponential. Like like next year, like every year that goes by, we're gonna like AI is gonna be better, and it's gonna be fascinating to watch how quickly it improves.
Right.
Kind of scary, but also like fascinating, like really interesting.
So when we didn't do a pod on this for obvious reasons, but Marvel's Secret Invasion, the opening credits were AI generated. And that's obviously the first season. So season 2 of Secret Invasion, if Christian is what Christian you're saying with the exponential, then season 2 will just be 100% AI. AI Nick Fury, AI written, just AI everything.
Is do we have to have a season 2?
No, and I doubt there will be one.
Oh, thank God.
This is more of a the darkest timeline situation.
Oh God, yeah. Like, oh man. Oof.
Yeah.
I watched Pitch Meeting for Secret Invasion today.
Oh my God.
Very
that
entertaining.
shit
Very
was
entertaining.
hilarious. I love
Yeah.
so Ryan is the guy that runs that channel. And he usually has like a fun closeout where he'll say like, if you like this video, be sure to check out these other ones. And then his closeout for Secret Invasion, he's just like, that's it. That's all I have to do. That's all I have to say. I'm just going to sit here and wait so that you can click on something else. I was like, this is great.
He was so defeated.
Yeah, he was very defeated.
perfect.
Like, that's the first time. And I think a lot of people like say that about Secret Invasion is it's some of the worst television out there.
And there's like no reason it should have been.
Yeah.
It's like the comic, like the whole story is a layup. Like you just take the story that's already been given to you and do that. But no,
It's very.
They ignored it.
It's confusing. I don't know. This pod is not obviously on Secret Invasion, and we haven't really talked about it on our pod. But I think the thing that is so annoying with Secret Invasion is that you took 10 plus years of world building, and you literally. Like, a lot of times you'll see those articles and those clickbait titles where they're like, so-and-so took such IP, such franchise, and just shit all over it. Secret Invasion is truly the writers and the direct, like, they took it, the 10 years of MCU content, and they took a gigantic shit on it for no reason other than that's what we want to do, and we're going to make I don't know. It's just so weird. Like, because I saw an article, the reason this is so like in my mind is because I saw a thing from Screen Rant, and they're not the best with their articles, their titles. They are very kind of like, we're just gonna give you the clickbaity things to like, get you to click our shit. But they did make an interesting point where it's like, how do you take a character like Nick Fury, whose entire kind of being before the events of Secret Invasion is to create the Avengers, to create this superhero team, have them literally there when there is an external alien threat to humanity. How do you take this man and then say, fuck the Avengers, we're just going to focus on us because we have to, and then not give it an explanation at all. Zero explanation as to why there was a sudden change. And it's weird.
I mean, I didn't even watch the show, but I think from you and Learman and Arjuna's rantings, and then just like watching Pitch Meeting, I'm pretty sure I have a pretty good handle on what happened.
Right.
I don't know. Honestly, I hope you clip this out and we use this as the mini pod for Secret Invasion.
Yeah, we should do
Here's
a whole
our
thing.
review.
It's just this like 5-minute conversation about Secret Invasion.
Yeah, which is just a tangent from what we're really talking about.
Well, what's interesting? Though, with Secret Invasion, too, is like it's part of the MCU, and it does relate back to the Ninja Turtles because we get references to the MCU in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The 4 turtles reference Endgame multiple times in the movie. Which is great because it is a big Endgame was a big cultural event for us in the real world, and the fact that it's impacting, if you will, the fictional worlds that we are aware of and other IPs. I think that in itself like speaks volumes to like how important the MCU is. And then again, to kind of wrap up the the conversation here on Secret Invasion, for them to just put out that show and then just kind of shit all over it is like, great. You kind of deserve what you got in the end, guys.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that we've said enough about Secret Invasion, but Secret Invasion single-handedly makes me more excited for James Gunn's DC. Because I'm like, oh, well, it's going to be better than that.
Well, technically, it's going to... Guns' DC starts with Blue Beetle, which is coming out this week, actually. The week that this pod is being dropped or whatever, it's coming out, so...
Oh, shit.
Yeah, definitely we'll go see it and be like, cool, that was the thing. But going back to the end game, being in Ninja Turtles and everything, I want to know what pop culture, because obviously they made a bunch of pop culture references. Endgame, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and everything. But like, what was your kind of favorite or one that stood out the most when like looking at the film?
Yeah, you guys know me pretty well, so I don't think this is going to be any surprise. But the Attack on Titan references were gold, just gold. I mean, and kind of like Endgame, right? It just shows how big Attack on Titan is internationally and how much it's not infiltrated, but like suffused itself into Western culture and Western media and American audiences. Attack on Titan, it's the easy one. I mean, the fact that the movie's climax is a battle with a giant mutant stomping around New York City, and they brought back the Attack on Titan reference to try and, figure out how to bring it down. The back of its neck is the weak point. I loved it. I think that it just made me giggle. I was sitting there in the theater. I'm like, oh my God, they got an Attack on Titan reference. And it was funny because my theater wasn't too full, but you could tell there was the audience ran the gamut.
Right.
We had young kids, parents. It was on a Saturday. I saw it as well. So parents brought in their kids. There were older people who clearly grew up with this stuff during the 80s.
Right.
So like slightly older than me, maybe. And so we had this huge range of people, and it was interesting because I'm pretty sure everyone my age and younger probably got the Attack on Titan reference, but everyone who came in who was older may not have.
Right.
So, and that, to me, that was an interesting, the breadth and width of the pop culture references they put in there. Like Arjuna kind of mentioned in his one-word impression, this movie is kind of made for a few generations,
right.
like quite a few. And so I'd be so curious to know like how many of the pop culture references did certain populations get, or how many went over their heads, or how they even decided to which ones to put in there.
I actually wonder as well, like, did they make different references based on country of release? I will say this, though. One thing that's also interesting with this film is it has made, at the time of this pod, it has made significantly more money. It's made more money, obviously, domestically than it has internationally, where domestic is at 53 and international is at just under 10 million. But I do wonder if they changed the references based on country of release. Because again, it's an animated film, so it's not hard to do. It's pretty straightforward to kind of change up. Before I get into my favorite pop culture, I want to drop Arjuna's favorite pop culture reference.
My favorite pop culture reference, there's a lot in this movie. Like I said previously in the one-word impression, the aesthetic and bringing the movie up to date, I thought was really cool. And also having all of those pop culture references that I myself grew up with was fun. But I think the thing that made me laugh the most had to be when Master Splinter did the Party of the Chris's with the different standees in there. I just thought that was hilarious. And then I really truly enjoyed seeing like Chris Pine's Star Trek Chris there. So the Paramount synergy and all of it, and it was just funny, especially like Jackie Chan just kind of delivering those lines. And it was a really heartfelt moment, like Splinter's trying to connect with his sons and feels like he's losing them, and he puts a lot of effort into like throwing this party, and he's like, everybody loves Chris. So I thought that was really fun and really cool.
Shout out Jackie Chan.
Oh yeah, Jackie Chan. We don't usually do
perfect
favorite parts
Splinter
anymore, but Jackie Chan by far I think was a perfect voice actor, and actually that's a perfect segue because that was my favorite pop culture reference was Jackie Chan, and the fact that Splinter was doing similar moves of Jackie Chan from Jackie Chan films. So if you remember, in the last, towards the climactic point of the film where Splinter goes to save the turtles and they're in the facility, he's doing kind of the fight with the chair. And there was a point where a guard tries to jam him in the groin area, and he splits his egg and hits the chair. It's similar to what we see in Rush Hour, where he's fighting with the goon. Rush Hour 2, I think, and the goons in the masseuse place in Hong Kong. So I thought that was probably my favorite reference. And plus, also when they were doing the montage of the training and everything, there were definitely some clips that looked like clips from Jackie Chan films. So him playing the voice and then also doing that, I thought was funny.
I can't believe I didn't pick up on that. I did. It didn't click to me. They got Jackie Chan, and because I thought that was funny too. When he was saving his sons, that accidental action, right? Jackie Chan's fight style, his choreography in his movies is always improvised and seems accidental. He's just trying to not get hit, and it leads into the next thing. I'm so mad at myself that I didn't pick up on that. So. That's a great one, though.
Yeah, there's that one, and then to Arjun's point, the Chris's I thought was also really, really fun. Especially the Star Trek stuff that was great.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so I think we're gonna get into the big one here, which is bold predictions, because I came up with my bold prediction for the film. Strangely enough, during the towards the beginning of the film, where Splinter tells the turtles the history, right? So the info dump that we, the audience, get in terms of how do we go from the zany doctor and the goo to 4 mutant turtles and a giant rat, right? So my bold prediction for the sequel for this film is going to be, and Christian, hold on to your butts because it's kind of crazy, is that the sequel is actually going to reveal the truth about Splinter and the Shredder. So one of the various stories and origin stories, if you go back to the original live action movie with the animatronics, is that Splinter was a rat and his master or his owner was a martial artist, and the martial artist was murdered by the Shredder, and that's why there's this kind of conflict. And there was a very particular style of karate, ninja, whatever you want to call it, that Splinter learned, and that's what he passed on to the turtles, and that's how that whole conflict exists. I think what it's going to be is something similar, and the big twist of it all is that Splinter's origin that he told the turtles is actually a lie, right? So their origin is a whole lie, and there's going to be kind of this conflict, if you will, where the turtles are now going to realize maybe we can't trust Splinter anymore.
Oh shit!
Yeah, so that's kind of my weird zany bold prediction.
Wow, yeah, that's that would be wild.
Yeah, because it was weird when they were telling the story or whatever. I was like, I know this is a new story or whatever, but I was like, this doesn't feel like the right vibe, or something felt off, I guess.
Yeah. Interesting. So you thought Splinter's not giving us the whole truth.
Yeah.
Or it's a little too convenient.
Yep.
I mean, it is a stronger story if Splinter and Shredder are enemies, or they are they've know about each other, or they've been in conflict before. My bold prediction actually is that the next movie is going to have Bebop and Rocksteady as more main characters. So they are pretty typical henchmen of Shredder, right? I think no surprise, we're going to get Shredder in the next movie. He's going to be the bad, et cetera, et cetera. But I think they're going to devote, and it's going to be funny, and I think it's going to be pretty heartwarming. Kind of like what we got with the Turtles in this movie, where they're trying to figure out their place in the world.
Right.
They're trying to figure out, they have this longing for the human world, and obviously their father doesn't. That's the conflict there. the next movie is going to focus on Rocksteady and Bebop. They have sort of brought into this world of the mutants in Splinter's lair, right? And they're hanging out and they're having fun. At some point, Shredder's going to find them and he's going to corrupt them and cause them some kind of trauma and pain that's going to make them turn on their new family, right? And I think there's a potential here for a very powerful betrayal and corruption.
Ooh.
And I think more than any other version of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, we're gonna get some deep stuff with Bebop and Rocksteady. Usually they're just like, just henchmen. They're just there to beat up the turtles. We're gonna get some really good character stuff with them. They won't be the main characters,
right.
but they're going to be.
They're gonna be important to the story.
Very important, and I think we're gonna see them in a brand new light. Like we already saw them in a brand new light in this movie,
right?
But we're gonna get some like really deep stuff with them to show why and how they turn over to Shredder, to his side of things.
To the good side.
The good side, yeah.
Good side.
If you got a second cat, name him Shredder.
I mean, I should have named this one Shredder. Here's our June's Bowl prediction.
Okay, my bold prediction for the future of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So Paramount has already confirmed that there is a spin-off show and a sequel to the movie coming. So I have to say that my bold prediction is going to be Splinter will be killed by the Shredder in the second Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But Baxter Stockholm, who you see in the beginning of this movie, who created the mutants, who created the ooze, is alive, and in the post-credits of 2, revives Splinter as a villain who will then fight the Turtles in the third Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. That is my bold prediction for the future of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles franchise. I think they really want to challenge the Turtles in different ways, and clearly, like, the relationship with Splinter is really, really important to this film and this franchise, I think, in particular. So I think the way to really continue to challenge them is losing Splinter and then Splinter coming back as an adversary. I think that would be really hard on the Turtles and could take the story in some interesting ways.
Wow. We said bold, Arjuna, not crazy.
Yeah, like it doesn't make a lot of sense for Baxter to revive. Like, let's say he is alive. Why would he revive? I mean, I guess it would make sense if, like, let's say he was really upset that the Turtles killed his fly, his first, part of his family. But, like, all the other mutants are alive and doing well. So, does he really love that fly?
Maybe. I mean,
yeah, I don't know. That feels.
He was the first one. You do love the first of anything, usually. But yeah, I had another point to make and I forgot. Thanks, Tuna.
I mean, it is a very bold prediction, that is for sure.
Incredibly reckless.
Reckless, like, thought process, I think.
Reckless speculation.
That's what we should really change it to, is reckless speculation.
Yeah.
As opposed to bold prediction. Yeah, we're going to... June's not here to say yay or nay. That's what we're doing. It's now going to be called reckless speculation.
Yep.
It just rolls off
We
the
used to have
tongue
a
better,
separate...
too.
Yeah, and it... we used to have a section, like a separate section called reckless something.
Did we?
Speculation, I think. Yeah. But we only did it for like 2 or 3 episodes, so it was just too similar to...
Bold predictions, yeah.
To bold predictions.
Yeah, so it should just be reckless, because our June's is reckless.
Yeah. Remember when we used to do rant time?
Yes.
And then we had that Arjuna soundbite?
Yeah.
Rant time.
Those were the times.
Yeah. We should get back to that.
Ranting.
Yeah.
I mean, couldn't you argue that the entire podcast is just one big rant?
Yeah, it depends on the subject matter. So if we had, for instance, our mini Secret Invasion pod that's embedded in this pod was a rant.
Yeah.
That was rant time.
That was rant time.
So it depends. Sometimes, yes. If we redid Triple Frontier, that would just be you ranting.
That's
if
true.
We did episode 8, that would be you ranting. So
Anytime we talk about CGI, it's a rant.
yeah, usually. Though you have mellowed, I think.
Well, I have to, because of how the industry has just changed so
Your
much.
blood pressure.
Yeah, that could be a thing too, I guess. Yeah.
Gotta keep that in check.
Gotta keep it in check.
Yeah.
All right, I think it's that time, and I think Arjuna's kicking us off.
Oh, I guess I don't know who's going to ask me. Was it good? Maybe I'll just start. Who should I start with? Krishna. Was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem good?
I don't think this should be very shocking. Yes, it was extremely good. One of the things that Learman told me that was like, okay, I have to go see this movie is he said this movie did for him what Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, the first Spider-Verse movie, did for the that Spider-Man IP, that franchise, the Miles Morales. He says it gets you in there. There's a lot of good emotional stuff. The art is absolutely incredible. Like the way that they use their very specific art style to like characterize characters, like the slightly deformed, slightly off art style for many characters, I think worked so well because it's a movie about mutants, right?
Yeah.
And even showing that the humans themselves are kind of mutant in their behavior sometimes.
Yeah.
Very, very effective in getting you to root for the Turtles and showing the hardships of Master Splinter, and what he had to go through.
Right.
Really, really feel stuff for those characters, and they did a great job. And the art style is probably like the number one element for that, and then the voice acting a close second. Great voice acting.
Oh, I mean, amazing voice acting. We didn't even talk about. Do you know who voiced April though?
No, I forgot to look that up actually.
Io.
Oh, Edda Berry.
Yes. So she
from Peacemaker.
No. Wait. You said from what?
From not Peacemaker. So I'm thinking of somebody else.
You're thinking somebody else. No, she's from. Why? We just did a pod on this.
Oh. Yeah, I totally fucked that up. From The Bear.
Yes, thank you.
Duh. God, I'm sorry. I was thinking of someone completely different.
Who are you thinking of?
Sorry. I was thinking of. Hang on, I gotta pull up now. Peacemaker cast. I was thinking of. It doesn't matter who I was thinking of.
Because you don't want to be called out. All right, that's fine.
I don't want to get.
That's fine. I think
called
I know who you're talking, but that's.
Though I deserve to get called out.
Shitted on.
Yeah, I do.
Oh, that's fair.
But
that's fair.
Let's save me though.
That's fine. Move on then.
Ravi, was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem good?
It was, and I wish it was the last movie that I would see this summer, so I could say the summer blockbusters ended on a high note. But unfortunately, summer is not over yet, and more films are coming.
Ooh, damn, that sounded regretful.
It's one of those things where, like, I think this movie is like one of the peak films of the summer blockbuster films, and like when looking at what's coming out still in August, I'm not super excited, is what I would say. In terms of like the films, like I said, Blue Beetle's coming out next, most likely. I mean, we have to figure this out behind the scenes, but we'll probably do a Blue Beetle pod, but it may just be you, me, and Learman doing the Blue Beetle pod. But we'll see. We will see.
Really?
Well, remember our brother who's flexing is across the pond.
Oh yes.
So
I don't know how long he's gone for. So
I actually don't either. So
it could be back tomorrow for all we know.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably not.
Yeah,
probably not. But
who knows?
Yeah.
Anyway, should we? I mean, we don't have to get Arjuna's opinion in terms of like anything
That's
was
true.
good, but
That's
I guess
true.
I'll ask
That's
the
true.
question: Arjuna, was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem good?
I'm gonna say that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem was not only good, it was great. Really enjoyed it. One of my favorite movies of the summer. Maybe one of my favorite movies of the year. Just like a really fun, summer movie that I feel like a lot of people didn't necessarily get to see. You know, the box office numbers aren't, unfortunately, super, super high, and that's for a lot of reasons. It's an animated movie. It's coming out in August. It's coming out on the heels of Barbenheimer. So just, you know, I feel like a lot of people didn't necessarily get to see this movie, and it didn't get its due. But I really enjoyed it. You know, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is a pivotal franchise for me as a young kid kind of growing up. I really loved the movies and the TV shows, and I just thought that this was something that was really cool to like hang your hat on, and like a really, really awesome reinvention of the Turtles, and it's something that I'm really excited to see continue build and grow. So yes, I did like it. I'm excited to see more of it, and I can't wait for what's next. That's the end of the show now. We don't need to go back to Krishna Ravi. Just end it. Goodbye. Signing off. This is the end.
I'm just gonna cut him off.
You cut him off. I love that.
Well, he goes on for like a little bit more, and then he just stares awkwardly at the camera, and it's like, okay, maybe I'll put that at the very end of the YouTube clip so that we have like, you know, that 20 seconds needed to make you click another button because you're like, please stop, staring at me.
Oh, that's smart, actually.
Yeah, maybe that's what we'll do going forward with like everything.
Torture people.
Yeah, with Arjuna's awkwardness.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah. Well, that's no surprise there that he liked it. He did tell us to do a pod.
No.
Whenever somebody says on this podcast, go watch this movie or TV show, it's 99% because the thing is good to that person. Except
you would hope so.
Yeah, except for Westworld Season 3.
Ooh.
Yeah, that one I definitely fumbled. But it did start well. It just ended super poorly.
I mean, I liked it. I liked how it ended. So I know that's not a popular opinion on this podcast, but yeah.
But I like what I like, so fuck you.
Exactly.
There you go.
Are you guys, real quick, 10-second pitch.
Mm-hmm.
We should do a pod on the Netflix One Piece.
Oh, no.
Comes out the end of this month?
Yeah, no, we're definitely going to do that. That was a no-brainer.
Well, that's the first ever pitch that I have succeeded in 10 seconds. So,
yeah, and you're talking the Netflix because it's a movie, right? It's not a series. Or is it a series?
It's a series.
Oh, it is a series. 10 episode series?
Probably.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Yeah.
I kind of the great thing about it.
Figured we
the great
would
thing about it
because
is
you
it'll be.
You love it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm in the middle of watching the anime right now, but this is an adaptation of that, obviously, and it's getting very good. It's getting very good feedback so far. And the great thing about Netflix is they'll dump it all at once, so you can treat it like a movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a 10-hour movie if you want. So.
But the only thing though about the One Piece, you never watched Death Note, did you?
I didn't watch the live action, only the anime.
Gotcha. Well, you should watch the live action movie then, because that was torturous.
I don't. It looks not good.
I mean,
I don't want to ruin.
William Dafoe's the best part of it.
Sure, you expect nothing less.
Yeah.
As Ryuk,
yeah. Well, this is a good way to close it out. A little tease here. We will have the One Piece podcast at some point towards the end of the month. We are probably going to do a Blue Beetle as well. We don't know exact things and dates and releases, but you can follow us on the socials, on TikTok and Instagram at Was a Good Pod, on Twitter because that's still a thing, or X, I don't know what the fuck you call it, at Was It Good. Check out our full pods and breakdowns and social clips on youtube.com/wasitgood, and check out our website, wasitgood.info. Till next time, cowabunga, dude.
Ooh, very nice.
Yeah.
Cowabunga, dude.
Did they actually say it in the movie? I don't remember.
They did. I think they say it once. Yeah.
Sweet. Well, there you go.
I don't know what to do now. Just kind of awkwardly sitting here. Uh-oh.